I apologize for this. Megan and Vincent also here. Not just Nate, but also Megan and Vincent. I mean, I'm sure you're sitting there going, "Are we just chopped liver?" But they here from Springfield, at least for now. It's better here than it is there, right? It's already pretty cold there, right? And then that's what you got to look forward to going back to. I'm sorry. We get winter for like 2 days, 3 days at a time. You guys get winter 2 to 3 months at a time. Huh? Ugh, ugh, sorry about that. Um, there is always places to be in Texas. Y'all know that, right? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, hint, hint. Pray for our kiddos, youth and kids tonight. They're out caroling and have gone to the nursing homes to carol tonight. So that's always a fun night. Andrew's not able to be there with them, so I think Brother James got recruited. How does he sing? Does he sing well? He sing well? Okay. Yes, does he sing well? Okay, good. Because obviously Phil doesn't. He's making fun of himself all the time about the fact that he can't sing very well. But he makes fun of himself. I don't know. Is that true? It is true? Okay, Megan. Megan's attesting to the fact that he. And so they're out caroling tonight and enjoying some holiday cheer. Also, the one thing that passed and then it came back, it boomeranged and came back, is Richard's daughter-in-law, Kelly. Remember a couple of months ago, she had a stroke. And she has improved enough that I was just talking to Richard, she's in the rehab center now at Hendricks. And they are actually still kind of talking about now letting her come home. But that might actually not be a great thing. So just pray for the wisdom, okay, in coming home. Because she actually had to have part of her skull removed to relieve pressure and everything, and hopefully not have that happen again. And so they still haven't been able to get that all put back together just yet. So pray for Kelly and Wayne, her husband, all at the same time, please. Okay, so here we go. Revelation chapter number 6 is where we are. I'm going to give you just a brief introduction before we get into the next two seals. Seal number 3, seal number 4 are going to be cracked open and unlocked tonight. So we have to keep our Revelation outline in mind, okay? And that's where we want to start tonight. So go ahead and grab your handouts and get ready to fill in some blanks, because as we keep the outline in mind, we see in chapters 1 through 3 the witness of the Lamb, which is Jesus coming in and speaking personally with John, telling him what he's supposed to write, assuring him that it is for sure him, although there was really no doubt as John bowed down before Jesus in Revelation 1. Then the witness to the churches in chapters 2 and 3, the 7 churches that we looked at individually earlier on. So the witness of the Lamb is chapters 1 through 3. Then chapters 4 and 5, we get transported into heaven. And so the worship of the Lamb is the focus of chapters 4 and 5. We get to go into heaven prematurely. It dawned on me for the first time in reading this and studying this that this is just a preview of something we will see for ourselves someday. I never really thought about it like that, but it is the absolute truth that the 24 elders have got to be the church. We deduced that by just making object deductions and figured out that 24 elders have to be the church. And so, verses 4 and 5 attest to the fact that we, the church, will be here in this heavenly scene someday that John just got a preview of. Remember, Revelation is a prophecy. These are things that will happen. Haven't happened yet, but will. So chapters 4 and 5 focus on the worship of the Lamb. And now, as we get into chapter 6, we see the latter part of the outline, or the part that lasts from chapters 6 through chapter 19, and that is the wrath of the Lamb. Okay? The wrath of the Lamb, beginning in chapter 6. So let's read what we went over last week, making very brief comments before we get into seals 3 and 4 that are opened up. Revelation 6:1, and I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard, as it were, the noise of thunder, one of the four beasts saying to John the Revelator, "Come and see." And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. Very briefly, seal number 1 is the introduction of the white horse, okay? Seal number 1 revealed is the white horse, and that is going to be the world leader who comes up with some answers to the rapture, who comes up with a peace covenant with Israel. So Israel is going to have something that the rest of the world needs at that particular time, and thus a peace covenant is signed with Israel and the rest of the world, led by this world leader who rides the white horse, or the description of the white horse, which is in verse 2 for us. Okay, verse 3, when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast also say, "Come and see." Where do these beasts come from? They are, remember, in chapters 3 and 4, or rather 4 and 5, they are the ones that are around the throne. That's where they are. Verse 4, there went out another horse. This horse was red. So what we see then in seal number 2 is the red horse. Power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and that there was given unto him a great sword. So seal number 2 was the red horse, which signifies great war. Now, a brief synopsis of 1 and 2, since many of you weren't here last week, is the significant part of verse 2 is that this world leader, who ultimately becomes the Antichrist, is introduced to the world, and at that particular time he has a bow, but what naturally comes with bows? Arrows. No arrows are mentioned, which means this guy must have the silver tongue. He must be quite the diplomat, must have a way to, with his words, gather people up, and those people that are gathered up, the verse 2 again says, give him a crown. In other words, they say, look, we are looking to you. You have all the answers that we need for this chaotic time on the earth. And so that is the significance of the white horse. It is the man of sin being revealed. He is called the one who goes into perdition in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. And this is where he is introduced to the world. So funny that we had conversations even last week about who that guy is going to be. And several people mentioned different guys to me and things like that. And we've always done that, right? I mean, down through the years, once prophecy really began to unfold after 1948 and Israel became a country again, a nation again, then everybody starts guessing as who's going to be the Antichrist. Hitler, and then go on and so forth. Kennedy and Kissinger, and all of these people that have been uh, supposed to be named. And of course, we don't know exactly who it's going to be. We're just all making guesses at this point because he has not yet been revealed. Is he amongst us? Among our 8 billion people on the planet? Possibly. Possibly. And if you believe that the rapture is just really, as far as eternity is concerned, moments away, I think he's probably here. Pretty good chance that he's living among us. We can guess and do all of that kind of stuff, and it's really not healthy to do that. But it is a good possibility to know that he is here. Okay, so then the red horse comes along, and the red horse is significant because people might not fall in line immediately with this world leader. There may be some rebellious nations. What is the world leader going to do? Well, likely he's going to do what most people do. He's going to try to reason and try to create some peace, but ultimately, him being the world leader and having weapons at his disposal, he's just going to go annihilate people. And so, nations will come into line either willingly or by force. And so then this chapter is beginning to depict what is going to be going on in this 7 years of tribulation. Now, we haven't quite got to those numbers yet, but trust me, Revelation's going to reveal that this period of time from the rapture of the church to the second coming of Christ is a 7-year period, okay? So we'll just kind of keep that in mind for right now. And one of the descriptions of this 7 years is this red horse, who certainly signifies a great season of war. Now, we get to verse 5 and seal number 3, new material for tonight. When he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, "Come and see." Okay, how many beasts are there around the throne? 4, right? And how many horses are there going to be? 4. Interesting that there is a correlation there. So the third beast says, "Come and see," to John. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse. And he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the 4 beasts say, "A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine." Okay, so seal number 3 is verses 5 and 6. This seal introduces us to the black horse, which reveals a time of worldwide famine. Okay, so the cracking of this seal reveals a black horse, and worldwide famine is the significance of this horse. I can't think of many worse things that has been present in our world for the majority of my life than hunger. People that are hungry. It's just really sad. The only thing that kind of rivals that is people that do not have clean drinking water. You know, because those are kind of important things to us as humans, right? Things to eat and things to drink that are healthy, that are available. And I don't know if you do this often enough. I know I probably don't do this often enough, but thank the Lord that I live in America, where even during the freakiness of COVID, I could still find enough food on the grocery store shelves to get something to eat. You know? Now, I couldn't find any toilet paper, but that's another story. It's amazing, isn't it, how that we sometimes take for granted who and where we are as a nation. But let me just remind you that this seal, when it is opened, another reason to be thankful that as believers, as Christians, we will be vominosed out of here in the rapture, is because even in America, famine is going to be a distinction of this time. And remember, now that we are in chapter 6, we are seeing the beginnings of the wrath of the Lamb. One of the things that is going to be prevalent is famine as a judgment by Jesus. So as if worldwide conflict and killing is not enough, i.e. the red horse, there will be a lack of food around the world so that prices skyrocket, either caused by war or pestilence, disease on the food. The food supply will wane as represented by the balances in the hand of the rider of the black horse. That's what the balance in his hand represents, is the fact that the food supply goes or begins to go way down for the number of people that are alive still. So, this with the balances seen then, there comes a careful rationing of the food. All right? A careful rationing of the food. As the prices are compared then, a penny was known in these days as a day's wage. Can you imagine working all day for a penny? In our vernacular, in the way, that'd be weird, wouldn't it? That would mean that a penny's actually worth something. However, I am the kind of guy, and I don't know if you are like this or not, but I always feel like if I find a penny on the ground, I pick it up. A penny's a penny, right? Still spins. It goes into my coin thing, and by the way, my coin thing is full. I got to take it to the bank. I'll let you know at some point how much money was in there. It's a jar about this big, and it's totally full now. I can't get anything else in there. And I'm going to hopefully get a new driver this February with that money, but I'll let you know about that. Golf club. Get a new golf club. That's what I'm. Hey, man, golf clubs are expensive these days. You probably don't know this, but it's about $600. So I've been saving my pennies for the last 3 years for the next driver, right? So there you go. All right. Not that that has anything to do with anything. But again, as prices are compared, a penny was a day's wage. Listen to this. A measure of wheat, though, was only good for one person. So a measure of wheat was food for one. So what does the Bible actually say? Verse 6, a measure of wheat for a penny. That means one person's daily wage is enough to feed one person. So if it's a family of 4, you get to eat every 4th day. That's tough. That's tough times right there. 3 measures of barley, by the way, wasn't a whole lot better, because barley is actually what they fed the animals. So they're going to have to start eating animal food. That's not very good either. And by the way, by the time the biblical illustration of the barley here, by the time that barley is processed and stuff, the nutrients were mostly taken out, and it wouldn't really be enough to sustain a human anyway. So they're going to be trying their very best to survive with food that you can't survive on. That is severe. The impact of this judgment is that only individuals or maybe small families would be able to survive this. And you note at the end of verse 6, see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. That's not talking about oil that comes out of the ground, okay? We West Texans immediately think of that kind of oil. I think you obviously know what wine is, but the oil would be kind of a cooking oil or a olive oil, more expensive, more extravagant type situations. So what this actually does is, since the oil and the wine is not hurt, the rich people are still eating good. So there's even a further divide in society just because you've got people now, and really the balances could also illustrate the fact that you've got people that are really wealthy and eating good and people that got nothing. And I think we've all heard enough about our economy that one of the things that is a problem in American economy today is the middle class is dwindling. And what happens with that? Then you've got the two extremes, right? So that's what's actually happening with this judgment. Is now you've got the poor of the poor looking up at the rich of the rich, and there just has to be great conflict with that kind of a situation in society. So the surplus of oil used in baking might even, for a lot of people, end up being useless. The surplus of wine might indicate that people will look to alcohol even more to their own harm. It's possible that that would be the situation as well. And I just did a funeral service this past Friday for a gentleman who lost his wife a couple of years ago. It was actually the second funeral I did when after we came here 4 years ago, and after losing his wife, he just gave up, and he just drank himself to death. I mean, that's sad. But here we are in this section of history, and people are like, well, there's nothing to eat, so I might as well just get drunk because there's plenty of wine. Weird, huh? So seal number 4 then, verse 7. When he had opened the fourth seal, I heard a voice of the fourth beast say, come and see. Okay? 4 beasts around the throne, 4 beasts that are saying to John, come and see, each individually. And showing him other beasts, the white horse, the red horse, the black horse, and now a pale horse. His name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with sword, with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. So seal number 4 is in front of us, and this is a pale green colored horse, which would be ashen green in color. Literally, the intention of this color horse for us is that we would picture the color of a corpse. Yeah, that's a nice color, isn't it? Can I tell you something? I told our previous church this because, listen, when I die, I don't plan on being cremated, so my body's going to be around. Please do not be that person that comes by my coffin and says, oh, he just looks so nice. Don't be that I'm dead, all right? That is my body. I am not there. And whatever they can do to fix my hair and put me in my best suit or whatever, by the way, it'll be a blue suit because that's my favorite suit color, because my favorite color is green, and green suits just really don't go very good, right? So blue, but don't go by and say, oh, Brother Daniel, he just looks so nice. Don't do that, okay? Because I ain't there. I'm in heaven, and I'm doing fine. Don't tell me that I'm looking nice in my coffin, all right? Because that's just not right. Because the only way that I would ever look nice is a whole bunch of makeup. All right? Because the color that I would be naturally is pale green. Ashen green. That's not my favorite color, by the way. My favorite green is a little darker than dead. Okay? Now, it's interesting to me that we actually get this, our English word chlorophyll from this color, pale green. We might think it, again, the color of a corpse, and that's intended by this description. As expected with this, death and hell are the riders of this horse, both capitalized. Why do you think that is? It's kind of an interesting question, isn't it? Why does the KJV capitalize these two, death and hell? Pretty good chance we're talking about the devil, Satan. And then again, we could think a little past that and go, well, every time we come on the name of God or the Holy Spirit or the Lord, it's always capitalized, right? So who's actually doing the judging then? Yeah, the Lord is doing the judging. Why? Because he's righteous. He's the one who stood up and took the scroll out of the hand of God. And so the very judgment of God is coming down on the earth. And so rather than think of this as the devil, I think we need to think of this as the righteous judgment of Jesus coming down on the earth. The Bible says here, death comes to 25% of the world's population. Okay? Death and hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with sword, with hunger, with death, and with the beasts of the earth. So the animals will actually just eat people. Yikes. So just think about it for a second. Death, obviously, referring to physical death. Hell, referring to spiritual death. Upon the reign of the peaceful white horse, horse number 1, the devil's reign of power, there will be a great destruction of bodies, and these that are destroyed, their souls will be damned to an eternal residence with the devil in the place that was created for him, hell. Of note, in World War II, I don't know if you know this statistic or not, but in World War II, 1 in 40 lost their lives. That's World War II. 1 in 40 lost their lives. Here, you do the math. 1 in 4 will lose their lives to eternal death because of the pale horse's judgment. Wow. Okay, before you start putting everything up, real quick. Okay, these 4 seals, these 4 horses, white, red, black, pale green. One thing we do not see within these horses is a time frame. Okay? We'll begin to see some time frames pop up as the revelation moves forward. So, that makes these horses and what each of these horses represent significant to the general environment of the world in the hereafter, during the 7 years of tribulation, when the church is gone and the judgment of Christ is made known. But I will say this, that all of these things will begin to happen very quickly after the rapture of the church. Okay? There won't be a 10, 20, 25, 30-year moratorium. Once the rapture of the church happens, that's the trigger. Okay? That's what we've all been waiting for. That's the proverbial pause button of Daniel's 70 weeks in Daniel chapter 9. And we've been in the pause button for the church age. When the pause button is clicked off, the rapture happens, okay? Days, months, probably not more than months after that is when the peace covenant is signed. And that, according to Daniel 9, is what triggers the 7 years till the second coming of Jesus Christ. So what we are visiting about with the 4 horses right here, that the 4 beasts reveal to John, is what's going on in the 7 years between the signing of the peace covenant and the second coming of Jesus. And the thing that is being opened before us, literally as the scroll is being opened one seal at a time, is this description. Okay. So as we proceed then, or as we proceed from here, we're going to see the wrath of the Lamb continue. It's composed of 7 seals, and then the opening of the 7th seal reveals 7 trumpets, and then the last trumpet reveals 7 vials or bowls of judgment that will be poured out. And that's where we wrap up tonight. As we head further and deeper into the Revelation. We've still got some seals to open up, and then, boy, things even get crazier as the Revelation unfolds before us. Lord, I know tonight that you do not reveal this to us just so we will have a really great grasp of those 7 years. I really know tonight that you reveal these things to us because you want us to see, you want us to get in our minds a picture of how awful this world is going to be once the influence of your Holy Spirit changes, especially with the rapture of the church. So encourage us, motivate us to take what we learn and use it as incentive to get out and be better witnesses for you. Because I believe that there are many that we are around each and every day who are going to be going through this unless they see the light. And we know you are the light and that we are your lights. us to shine brightly in the days ahead, especially now being equipped with this knowledge. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you.